Draft to the future. Yeah! Run the metrics, breaking down the tape now. See the vision of a future great now. Data-driven, film confirmed. That's the motto, lesson learned. Data-driven, film confirmed. Welcome to the show.
That's right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Draft to the Future. I'm Matt. That's Ryan. And one of the things we fell in love with doing last year is finding recruits people just need to know about. Finding people who deserve their name to be entered into the discussion. And so please give us a like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any content, because today we're honored to be doing another interview. What I was doing, getting ready to find out which of the prospects I was going to follow. Ryan's following 16. I'm following 16. And when I was looking at corner, I decided to have some fun and rank them all by coverage grades. And for FCS, sitting at number 13 was this prospect. And I became intrigued by him. And then I looked more into what he did, 6'1", 195 pounds. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I watched what games I could find, and I'm sold. And I think once you guys watch some tape and listen to him speak, you'll be sold as well. It is my honor to present to you, our honor to present to you, Nic Lendino from Valparaiso. I can't pronounce that word, but welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So, we went and, did a little deep dive on you. And one of the things that I saw in your bio on your way to getting to Valparaiso was that you earned the Most Influential Player Award in your high school. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it means?
Yeah, of course. That award, I got that my senior year of high school. Was a very meaningful award. Something that I've been very proud of throughout my whole career. Between college, high school, and even since I started playing football. But the Most Influential Award, when I received it, not only did it, make me feel good about, my performance on the field, the way that I've impacted my team on the field, but even more so within the locker room and within my teammates and my coaching staff. I thought that award really spoke well to a lot more than I am as just an athlete and just a corner on the field. So, it was a huge honor.
All right.
So among other of your accolades was something that Ryan and I have been kind of investigating lately. Your bio says that you remember the 7v7 national championships team for the Midwest Boom. And we were curious about your role in that season and basically the impact 7-on-7 had on you.
I'll start with, how much of an impact 7-on-7 and playing with Midwest Boom had on me. I really don't think that I'd be, I would have been able to make it to the level that I'm at today without Midwest Boom. There's a huge level of competition, not just for playing in different tournaments against teams across the country, but more so at practice each week. Midwest Boom does a great job of bringing in high-end athletes and stars within the Midwest region. That competition every week and the standard that the coaching staff holds their athletes to. It really, paved a path for me throughout my career. As far as, winning the national championship, I mentioned the standard that the coaches had, and that's a standard over there at Midwest Boom is going all the way and winning a national championship. I started Midwest Boom when I was, I believe, 7th or 8th grade. And, back then, that was when I first started playing corner. I just becoming a defensive back. And they really, gave me the fundamentals and all the tools that, I still carry with me today. So by the time that we won that national championship, I developed into a lot bigger player than I previously came into the program as. And, that's something I take away with me more so than just, the accolade of being a champion.
That's awesome. That's something I have to show my son because I can't convince him. He says it's not real football. I was like, buddy, it is. But I also saw you're a basketball guy as well in high school. How important do you think it is to play multiple sports when you're trying to move from like high school to college sports?
One thing that I've heard, firsthand from college coaches, and especially the ones at Valpo, was, it's very impressive to be able to be a multi-sport athlete, and that they do believe that it translates to you being a better football player. I played basketball all my life, and I think I was pretty solid at it in high school, and but just having different, a different situation. Of being an athlete outside of football, it helps a lot, and coaches can see that as well.
So I'm gonna go off script for just a moment. Can you speak to for a moment, because you play corner, and in my brain, there's some pretty good correlation between basketball and playing defensive back. Do you agree with that assertion? And if so, what skills do you think kind of help translate from the court to the field?
I totally agree. I think there is a huge correlation between some skills in basketball and that translate to the field. Personally, I was a huge defender in high school and in basketball growing up, and just the ability, it really does translate as a corner as well. The ability to move your feet and stay in front of a defender, and not only that, but seeing the whole, like, everything that's happening in front of you, like you do in basketball, you do that as well in football. So I mean, as a defender in football and a defender in basketball, the skills from either really help to pay off in both sports.
Okay. Basketball player, 4 years in football. What led you to Valparaiso?
A huge thing was so I'm from Naperville, Illinois, and it wasn't just about the location to me, but not so the staff here at the time, they're very appreciative, very loving towards the recruits they're bringing in, and especially towards me. I felt I really felt their support with me wanting to be Valparaiso Beacon. But it's been a great blessing for I'm only an hour and a half away from Valparaiso back at home, so my family being able to come see my games, it means a lot to me. But kind of like I mentioned, the staff at the time, they really did a good job of getting me on the hook here. I think I visited here like 5 times, 4 or 5 times before I committed, but and every time I enjoyed it even more. I got to know, there's a great culture here. Was a huge thing. The campus is great and everything. It's a great academic school, which is super important as far as me for my career. But the culture that the group of guys have here, it was very welcoming.
So you mentioned all the support that you got. When it came down to make your decision, was there a core group of people or an individual who really kind of helped you narrow it down and make that final call?
I mean, I have to include my parents in that conversation. Of course, with their support throughout, my whole high school career of, me, since the moment I told them that, like, I want to play at the next level, the support was amazing. And they're very understanding that, I had my perspective and they had theirs. And we were able to, look at both of those and of what they thought and I thought, and weigh out the options. But outside of that, I have a few guys on my high school football team that really they pushed me and gave me a lot of opportunities coming out of high school to speak with other coaches, and they really were rooting for me, and they helped me a lot, finally land my decision on Valpo.
All right, so let's start talking a little bit about you on the field. So one thing that's pretty interesting is when you're a starter on defense, especially at corner, I feel like in my research, it's very rare that you see those guys play a ton of snaps on special teams too. But then we've got you being named like an all-team defensive player, a special team player of the week. You led your team in tackles. To me, that means you're probably a pretty physical player to be able to do that. Is that how you would describe yourself?
I wouldn't. I think there's a lot of people that would describe me that way too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Ryan was talking earlier. He said when watching film, he's like, it's like he's angry the guy dared to catch a football around him.
Yeah, you better not try to catch a football around me. I would be angry too,
Yeah.
So starters rarely see the field on special teams, but not only are you there, but you're a high performer. Why is a starting defensive player still performing and playing on special teams as much as you are?
So there's a few things that go into that. One, coming into college football, you got to earn your dues, and a great way to earn your shot at being on the field is being on special teams. At Valpo, we have a huge stress on focusing and having a great job of putting a lot of time into special teams. And since my whole career, that's something that we've done. So it's something that I never would plan on putting down is special teams, because it's a whole phase of the game, and if you want to win a football game, you got to win all three phases, and you got to be great in all three. So I'm here to do everything that I can to win a football game, and if I can contribute on special teams as much as I can on defense, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about you being like a physical guy. I saw quite a few plays where you're just absolutely laying out players when they get the ball. That's not something that I normally see from an outside corner. Can you talk a little bit about what you would say your identity is on the field, like what kind of player you are, and how you view your role on the field?
Absolutely. As we've said a few times, my physicality is a huge way in how I play. As being, I primarily play in the boundary in this past season, so I thankfully I get to have a lot bigger role in the run game and stopping the run. Pass first, but I'm more worried about doing everything I can, like I mentioned, to help win a football game. But as far as my identity, like we mentioned, physicality is one, and as well as just being a team player. I don't think there's anyone that if you're on the field, that there's no one that should make the tackle more than anyone else. I'm going to run to the football and do everything I can to stop the ball. And I know my teammates are going to do the same, but we hold each other accountable to everyone get to the ball and make the play when it comes.
So, we talked about some of our favorite traits of yours. When you sit and evaluate your play, you had a pretty huge 2025 season. When you're coming into this season, what would you say you want to improve on to put on tape this year?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a handful of aspects in the coverage game that I plan on improving. Playing in the boundary, I'm pressing a lot, and I like to be up and close with those receivers. And there's a lot of aspects as far as how my hands and feet that I can improve on, as well as ball skills. I've high goals for the amount of times to get my hands on a ball, and I had 3 interceptions last year. I need at least double that this year. So there's all around progress to be made. I'll always show up in the run game, and I could always improve my tackling, because we had 86 tackles last year, but I know that I could have had a few more if I could go back to it. But yeah, so that's, as far as I could sum it up, all around, there's a few things in every spot that I could do to improve.
Yeah, and it looks like you've improved, each year that you've been on the field so far. And how do you think the staff at Valparaiso has played a role in that improvement?
They've been massive. they support their athletes and they're personal with their athletes enough, not too much where it gets in the way of being a coach and being a role model. This past season, I had Coach Mike Joseph. He played a few years in the NFL for the Chicago Bears, and then played for the DC Defenders after his stint in the NFL. And he came on. It was his first time coaching, and he's done an amazing job. Putting a lot of faith in me. But he wasn't the only one to he wasn't the only one in my career at Valpo that I was able to feel their support. They've done a great job of allowing me to play with confidence, and I think they do that with a lot of the team here.
So you were actually a team captain in high school for both football and basketball. It's hard enough to be named a leader in one sport or in any peer group, but when different organisms, different groups of people look to you as a leader, that speaks to the quality of that leadership. What would you say are some of your key characteristics as a leader? Why do people gravitate toward you and look to you in that role?
I mean, as far as being able to do it in multiple aspects of different sports, regardless whether I'm on a football field, basketball field, or if I'm who knows where, but I'm a competitor, and I'll always want to compete, and I don't only do that for myself, because football is a team sport, so is basketball, and whatever it is, if we're going to win a football game, or we're gonna have to all do it together, and I think that including the idea that I've kind of earned my role on the football field. People around me have been able to respect the way that I've been able to play, and respect me as a teammate and a friend enough to listen and follow me as a leader, because it's only I can't be a leader if I don't have anyone that is willing to follow, and that's something that I have a lot of praise for my teammates too, because everyone has a role on a team, and I think that everyone else has done a good job of filling their role when it's time to.
Yeah, that kind of leads me into a story I read actually about one of your old basketball teammates, Sebastian Grimes. And what really struck me about this article is how highly you spoke about him and how you were talking about supporting him and being excited for the chance that he got to play. And I think that just shows what you were just talking about, being a good teammate. How important is that to you, being considered like a good teammate and supporting players both above and below you in their status?
It really does mean the world, because being a good teammate, and being very supportive, there's not huge signs that of what you're doing is paying off, other than the fact that you get to appreciate what everyone else is what they're doing around you. So I mean, it means the world, especially when I can have a role in the way that someone else plays, because I would want the same and expect the same for my teammates, because I do appreciate the way that they support me, and I know that if I could reciprocate that, they would appreciate it too, and help set everyone up for success.
So leading into success, you've already mentioned you want to double your INTs. Do you have any other key goals that you want to accomplish this season on an individual level?
100%. My main goal, outside of our team goals, that's what's most important to me, is how I perform as a team. But I want to be FCS All-American. I want 6 interceptions. I want to lead the country and pass deflected interceptions, whatnot. All the coverage stats, as well as my coverage grade, which I think it's a great statistic. But all the things that I could do to put on the stat sheet throughout the football game, those are my goals. So a big one is I will be a FCS All-American.
All right. Now we expect you to have as good or better of a year this year as you did last year. So when that comes to fruition, what are your thoughts on your future, like the draft, things like that? Is that what you see in your future?
100%. I'm gonna strive to be the best football player that I can, and I know that I've made a lot of progress in my career, and I think there's a lot of room left for progress, and I'm very confident that if I continue what I'm doing and continue doing more, I'll enter the draft and find myself at the next level.
All right.
So I just want to say for our part, when we go, just so you know, each of us are following 16 different players. So I'm literally going to watch. I'm at the very least going to look at your information, and if I can get to your games viewing wise, every snap I can watch, every game I can watch, we're following you, we're supporting you, we're rooting for you because we believe in what you're capable of. And we just want you to know that and want to know that you have support from us and, anyone in the community we can get your name out to. We just appreciate you so much. But we're just a couple of guys trying to talk about, the draft and draft prospects. If you were able to talk to an NFL scout, what would your pitch be to that scout?
It's actually funny. I was in the airport about a week ago, and I saw a Jack. He had a hat wearing saying NFL Players Association, had a Jacksonville Jaguars sweater on, and we just walked past each other. But in that moment, I thought about how exactly what you're asking me, what my pitch would be. I would tell them that I as much faith in myself as anyone could have, and I think that I would tell them that the faith has gotten me to a lot of places, and I've done some fairly impressive things on the football field and in the locker room, and not only am I an asset on the field, in coverage and stopping the run, but I'd be an asset to any organization, any football team in a far greater way than just on the field. But more importantly, not more importantly, but very importantly, I make plays, and I've made a lot of plays in the past. And there's been a lot of times where the pressure is on, and I've never shied down. And I live under pressure, and that's where the great ones are made. So I hope that what I could convey of myself to a NFL organization or coach would be enough for them to at least be curious of what I do on the field.
Well, yeah, we really do appreciate your time, and we don't want to keep you any longer. But is there anything else that you've got that you want to tell people that are watching?
We're Valparaiso football, the Beacons. We're coming to make an impact this year. A lot of people, count us out of things, but that doesn't even matter to me. It's just all noise in the background. It should be us this year, and we're going to do great things. We're going to win our conference, and we're going to go make the championship tournament after making our conference, and we're really going to shock a lot of people. All the support around me, we're all going to do it together. So other than that, I really appreciate you guys taking the time and your support. And yeah, I'm really happy that we were able to do this.
All right, everybody, this is Nic Lendino. Have a good one. Catch us on the next episode.